Look at this guy. You believe they call us criminals when he's assaulting us with that haircut? What is this thing? Look how it thinks it's so cool. It's not cool to get help. Walk by yourself, you little gargoyle. Look at Mr. Smiles over here.
You like GotG.
Where's your wife, old man? What a Class A prevert.
It's time for some more comic industry news. Today we're talking Marvel Comics. We got a lot of teasers out there. We've got covers to talk about. We've got a teaser promo poster. We've got a tweet out there teasing what I think is a disgusting mutant. We'll talk about that as well. First up, we got a new Guardians of the Galaxy team that's going to be kicking in a new age of Marvel, which we'll get to. We've got teases that a very important, cool storyline that was introduced in the early parts of Jonathan Hickman's X-Men has not been touched in quite some time, is making its way back somewhat to Children of the Vault, but probably even a little bit more exciting because it directly ties into House of X Powers of 10. We've also got the return of Dazzler. The Defenders are returning. Did you know Doctor Strange is getting the band back together? The Defenders are returning to Marvel Comics. We do have some hints as to who the new Defenders team is, and I definitely want to hear from you guys on who you want to be on the next roster of Defenders. Now, before I get into all the details of this news, I do want to say, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Either way, let me know your thoughts on this news in the comments section. First up, we do have this promo poster for Guardians of the Galaxy. When I talked about Marvel solicitations for April, we pointed out that issue 13 was unexpectedly large and expensive. Why was it 40 pages? Why was it going to be $5? Marvel doesn't normally fleece its customers. Well, okay, I'm going to take that one back. Marvel likes to fleece its customers. They try to do it with milestones and #1 issues, and they just decided randomly that Guardians of the Galaxy 13 was special. Well, I guess it wasn't so random. It is going to be the introduction or the start of an introduction of a brand new team. We already knew that Wiccan and Hulkling were going to be joining the roster of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Makes a whole lot of sense. Obviously, those are two characters that writer Al Ewing has worked with in the past. He seems to have a lot of love for those characters. Obviously, they were a big part of his Empire story as well. We also recently got the return of Star-Lord, who we thought was dead, but now he's super powered up Star-Lord with the power of the Olympians. So he's back in the fold. Now, I want to give some props to Marvel Comics. They are giving Brett Booth a lot more work right now, which I think is really smart. It absolutely looked great on his recent issue of X-Men. This is 3 connecting covers for Guardians of the Galaxy. In the middle there, and on the right, you will see some silhouettes. We do know in the middle, the characters in the background there, just from some variants that we saw on issue 13, that we've got Super Skrull and Quasar on the background there. I think there might be a third character, but I can't really make it out. It's hard. As far as the characters on the right, we're not really sure, but they are going to be joining the roster. That is an enormous amount of Guardians of the Galaxy right now. Not only do we have Star-Lord, Gamora, Groot, Nova, Rocket Raccoon, Moondragon, Marvel Boy, Drax, and Phylla-Vell, we do have the aforementioned Wiccan and Hulkling. We've got Super Skrull and we got Quasar, and apparently at least 2 more characters joining the fold. Going to be a very enormous team. It makes sense because do you remember this? Did you know that Empire was supposed to be the kickoff of the new space age of Marvel Comics? Within Marvel, is supposed to specifically be happening in Fantastic Four. I forgot about that too, and I guess nobody realized that that's what the intention of Marvel Comics was doing with that event. So they're starting over, and now Guardians of the Galaxy 13 is being billed as the beginning of the new age of space for Marvel Comics. This is what writer Al Ewing had to say about Guardians of the Galaxy in 2021. Guardians of the Galaxy, both the book and the team are going to be stepping up a gear in 2021 with villains the team has never faced, guest stars you never thought you'd see, and a new teammate you can't even begin to believe. All coming together for a crisis that'll shake every planet in the Marvel Universe down to the bedrock, maybe even a backwater planet like Earth. Sounds like we're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy cosmic-sized event series popping out of Guardians of the Galaxy in 2021. Just what we all needed. A nice big event to follow up Empire. We shall say this is the solicitations for Guardians of the Galaxy 13. They were soldiers, misfits, mercenaries, thieves in a family. They were heroes, but times have changed. The galaxy no longer needs heroes, balderdash, I'd say. It needs superheroes. Okay, now we're on the right track. In the aftermath of the climatic battle with the Olympian gods, the Guardians of the Galaxy have been deputized by the Galactic Council. New adventures call for new teammates, and the Guardians have expanded the roster like never before. Now, when the call goes forth, whether it's from a stranded team of planetary explorers or Emperor Hulkling and his Kree-Skrull alliance, the Guardians of the Galaxy answer. Well, there you go. They're plussing up the roster. They're making the adventures bigger and better. And we do have a new superpowered Star-Lord. Whether that is a good idea can be debated. But if you are a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, this is good news for you. They're going to be taking a bigger place in the Marvel Comics universe. And obviously, they got big announcements and big reveals coming in the future. So I hope that you're excited for Guardians of the Galaxy, starting with issue 13, which will be a little bit extra cheddar because it's a few more pages and it's the beginning of the new Space Age of Marvel. Next up, we have covers for X-Men 20 and X-Factor number 9. Now, X-Men 20 cover obviously is much more exciting for me. One of the big plot lines of House of X Powers of 10 was Nimrod and essentially AI overtaking the evolution of mutants and becoming essentially their ultimate downfall, mostly in the form of Nimrod, like the ultimate AI. Now, we saw at the end, they were traveling in time, and Moira X was restarting her life when she thought she found where Nimrod came from. And it was going to be on the Orchid Forge, the big space station out there that had the mother mold. It was a very exciting issue. I just talked about it in a recent video where basically Cyclops and Jean Grey and Wolverine and Nightcrawler and a couple of other mutants stormed the gates of the castle, and they decided to take down the Forge to end the Nimrod once and for all, so he would never come online, and then the AI and mechanical evolution would no longer overtake mutants and enslave humans forever, and they thought they had stopped it. But au contraire, mon frere, we found out very early in the Dawn of X series from Jonathan Hickman, and it seemed like this was going to be a big push coming in Dawn of X. One of the reasons I think myself and other people have been disappointed with Jonathan Hickman's X-Men is we saw that Nimrod was inevitable. He had not been stopped. That the Dr. Gregor on the Forge, who lost her husband, was trying to revive him, was using a crystal. I thought it was a Shi'ar crystal, but we're seeing other crystals being used specifically in Sword right now, and she was jamming it in her chest, and it appeared that her husband was now going to be the critical event that led to Nimrod, the evolution of AI, and the downfall of mutants. They couldn't stop it, which seemed like an absolutely amazing way to go after House of X Powers of 10, but we haven't seen it in so long. This cover by X-Men on X-Men 20 from Lionel Francis Yu lets us know that Nimrod is inevitable. He's coming back, and he's coming back very quickly. Obviously, Jonathan Hickman is writing this story with art by Francesco Mobley. Now, Francesco Mobley is a very good artist. You know who else is a good artist? Brett Booth. You know who else is a good artist? Mahmoud Asrar. X-Men should be one of their tentpole titles. Why can't they get one or two artists on this series just to stick there? It is absolutely frustrating that they are turning over so many artists with this series. It doesn't feel important. If it was important, it would just have one artist or two artists, and they would keep going with it. Why is R.B. Silva the main artist on Fantastic Four, but we can't get a main artist on X-Men? Which seems like it's a more important title right now. Certainly has more juice to it, left over from House of X Powers of 10, although it feels like the juice is running out. And I find that very disappointing. But this is absolutely exciting. I am over the moon. We're getting Nimrod back. And we're getting back to some of the interesting things of House of X Powers of 10. The other cover that we did get was X Factor number 9. Obviously, this is written by Leah Williams, art by David Baldione, cover by Ivan Shavrin. If you are a fan of Dazzler, you're going to be excited. It looks like Dazzler is joining the X Factor team. Now, I read 1.5 issues of X Factor, and I checked out. Although I did read a couple of them, maybe it was one. However many that were included in Ten of Swords, I did read those. I'll never make that mistake again. So if you're enjoying X Factor, hey, you're getting Dazzler back. That's pretty exciting. I think X Factor's been a train wreck, but that's just my personal opinion. We can still be friends if I don't like X Factor and you do, We can still be buddies. Now let's get to some bonus X-Men coverage. And I do find this one odd. And a good reason that artists and writers who have like old school fan fiction probably shouldn't be allowed to add most of it into the real series. Artist Bob Q has been working on a variety of X books. He's been bouncing around a little bit. And he is going to be introducing his fanfic creation, Soft Serve. And guess what Soft Serve's mutant power is? She can poop ice cream. Now, I don't imagine this is going to be a member of one of the teams or even a prominent character. She's likely to be in the background. I don't even think she'll be pooping into an ice cream cone. But just to think of this creation and him like bragging about including it, and Jonathan, we'll throw Jonathan Hickman in here, but mostly Jordan White not being professional or smart enough to tell him to take out Soft Serve from the comic book. We don't want the ice cream pooping mutant to be in here. Just tells you kind of where X-Men is. We just talked about it. Doc and I are going to have another conversation. There was a big interview with Jordan White where he kind of makes himself look not so smart. The interviewer, to even larger degree, if I'm being honest. Well, we're going to talk about that on Sunday, but there you go. Soft Serve, the ice cream pooping mutant, is going to be a part of X-Men canon. I don't know what else to tell you. Like, that is the state of Marvel Comics, and why Marvel was likely correct when they had Scarlet Witch depower all the mutants down to like 200. Because you end up getting really stupid stuff like this. And I understand some people, but it's really funny. But is it really funny? Is it really funny? It's really stupid. It's pretty gross. It's very benign. It's unnecessary. And it certainly takes away from the lore and the prestige of being called an X-Men character. So this is watering down the product. We've been talking about it here for a while. Thanks a lot, Bob Q. We really appreciate you adding your fanfic character to X-Men canon. May she poop, Rocky Road all over the islands of Krakoa. Pretty gross. Fans of the Defenders. We have a new Defenders series coming out in May. Not a lot of details about it, but we do know that what appears to be a slightly obese Doctor Strange is bringing the band back together along with the Masked Raider. Who's the Masked Raider, you ask? Don't you remember Marvel Comics 1000? He was the narrator, and he was like the character that Al Ewing reintroduced to the Marvel Universe that was tying everything together, and he was going to be very important moving forward. Of course, we haven't seen him, other than I think maybe Marvel Comics 1001 or something silly like that. We don't know who the creative team is. We are getting some hints about who might be on the new Defenders team. They are in the form of tarot cards. I personally, well past and over tarot cards being in Marvel mainstream. Hopefully this isn't an indication that we're getting anything like Ten of Swords within Marvel. Also, we had the tarot miniseries from Marvel not that long ago. I think most people forgot about that because it wasn't heavily promoted, and I don't think it was all that successful. Well, here are some of the characters that might be returning. I think these are hints. I imagine some of them will be returning, but not all of them. We've got founding Defender Hulk and Namor, Silver Surfer, Moondragon, Damon Hellstrom, Valkyrie, Brunhilde version, Betty Ross Harpy, Beast of the X-Men, and Cloud. So those are the characters that could, according to this cover, be new members of the Defenders. Who would you like to see on the Defenders? Obviously, this isn't the the Defenders that we've seen on Netflix or even in recent Marvel. They're going back to, it looks like, to the Silver Age and getting some of the old school characters back together. We do know that Immortal Hulk is ending, and they're only continuing it in like some one shot. So I would be very surprised if Hulk and Namor aren't on there because they don't have their own series coming out. So it'll be nice to see them in there. I do want to say this. I don't know if it's the angle or whatever, but Stephen Strange looks like he's put on a good, I don't know what, like 60, 70 pounds. Lay off the cheeseburgers, Doctor Strange. You look like you put on some weight, sir. And I will point out, we don't know who the creative team is for this comic book. The details will be out in the May solicitations, but we do know the cover artist is Javier Rodriguez, so maybe he'll be included on the creative team. We know he's worked with Doctor Strange before in the past, so perhaps he'll be on the team. Not any other details other than that. And that will do it, folks. We've got some interesting Marvel Comics news. Marvel's new Space Age did not take after Empire and into Fantastic Four. In fact, I don't think they got the word out very well, so they're going to run it back. Guardians of the Galaxy 13 includes a bigger team roster. They're going to add some members to the team in issues 13, 14, 15. They're moving past the Olympian Guards. They're moving towards an enormous crisis level event, and that is now the kickoff for the new Space Age of Marvel. We do know that Super Skrull Quasar B joined the team. We already knew that Star-Lord had returned from the dead, but he's super powered because he's got Olympian god powers. And we had Hulkling and Wiccan on the team as well. We've got X-Men covers teasing the reintroduction of the Nimrod storyline. Dates back all the way to the House of X Powers of 10 Days from Jonathan Hickman when things were very exciting. I'm very interested in that. Wish they could keep a main artist on X-Men. We also have Dazzler returning to X-Factor. I'm sorry, yeah, Dazzler's a great character and all. Not enough to get me interested in X-Factor. There is going to be a new disgusting addition to the X-Men roster, Saucer, the mutant that poops ice cream. Good job. And finally, Doctor Strange and the Masked Raider are getting the team back together. Their defenders are returning. We don't know the creative team, and we aren't quite sure who the team member is going to be. I'm pretty sure Hulk will be on there. I think Namor will be on there. Other than that, I'm not really sure. That is your news today. Are you excited? Let me know in the comment section.